Hi guys, it's Sean from Agility Fleet, and today we've got a very special car on loan for us. Well done to those of you who managed to guess. We've got the Genesis GV60. This is the latest addition from Hyundai's premium brand Genesis. Think Toyota and Lexus. Genesis is a relatively new entry, but we've been impressed by this model. So I'm going to give you a quick walk around of the outside of the vehicle, show you some key bits that we like, and then we'll move inside to show you some of the tech. This vehicle's got some really interesting tech I think you're going to want to see. So at the front of the vehicle, we've got some nice looking pixel headlights. We've got front parking sensors and front radar, lots of things to help you park. In the front of the vehicle, as with most electric cars, we have a frunk, relatively small. You can fit your charging cables in there or any other small items that you want to take away with you. Around the side of the vehicle, 21-inch wheels, slightly garish for some people I would say, but still makes the car stand out, looks quite impressive. You've got blind spot warning and you've got cameras all around the side of the vehicle built into the door mirrors themselves. Pop-out door handles, these are very cool. They go back into the vehicle when you're driving along and they pop out when you approach. Keyless entry, also very useful for this sort of car. We'll come back to the charge point in a second. While it is electric, there is also another very cool feature you can do with the charge port. Moving around the back of the vehicle, electronic tailgate. Nice to see, especially in a car of this class. A decent sized boot with a cover, a little bit of room underneath the vehicle, so if you do have something you want to hide in the boot, you do have the space to do so. And then we have this really cool accessory. I'll show you a bit more about what this does with the car. So Genesis call this the Multicharger. This is effectively an inverter that you can plug into the vehicle and charge accessories. I'll show you how to do it. So if you open the charge point, you can take the cap off and plug the multi-charger into the vehicle. Pop the bottom off. We do have an accessory to plug in. We didn't have any outdoor accessories handy, so we're going to charge an iPad. I realise it would be easier to charge this actually in the vehicle. But if you take your accessory, plug into the charger and turn on, then you are able to charge accessories from the vehicle itself. This is a very cool feature. Might not be used very often, but if you ever are camping, for example, and you wanted to run anything from the vehicle, can prove to be really useful. Quick look around the back of the vehicle. First thing to notice is the blue and yellow seats that we've been given on this model. Not to everybody's taste, but obviously Genesis are trying to stand out slightly, so I do understand that. You've got an armrest with some cup holders, some nice stitching on the seats, a couple of USB-C ports and some cargo area, some storage area behind the seats. There's another cup holder on the door along with a rear heated seat button, which is a nice option. You've got your window selectors, a Bang & Olufsen stereo system, a window shade, lots of natural light through the pan roof that almost reaches it to the back, and as a 6-foot individual, a decent amount of knee room and headroom. So inside the car, for the main event, there's quite a lot to talk about here, so I'll get through this the best I can. The main thing you're going to notice right from the off is the crystal ball. So if you start the vehicle, crystal ball flips across, and those are your drive selectors. So you've got reverse, drive, park, all the normal functions. That stands out quite well against the competition. It's quite a quirky little feature. Moving back here, you have your seat options. They're heated and ventilated. The ventilation was very gratefully received by the team during the hot weather. All of your various park options, so you can see your camera, your parking sensors, etc. You've got some storage space back here. There's a button for heated steering wheel for the colder months. You have your cup holders in the front, 2 decent size. Lots of room underneath. Another benefit of not having a transmission tunnel is you get that bit of extra space. You've got your selector for your infotainment system, which we'll go through shortly. You've got various options for home, volume, and tuning the radio. A touch screen here in case you want to control the climate control through this little touch screen. And down here you have a charge point along with 2 USB-C charging ports. So in the infotainment system you have a nice home screen. You can swipe across, it's all touch screen, it's all very responsive. There's nice infotainment system graphics, so there's various options. We'll start from the EV options. This gives you a rundown of your current range, the effect that the climate control is having on the vehicle, where the nearest charge points are, etc. It's very important, that's why we have it at the start of the list. You have your sat nav and you have your phone projection. A little bit disappointing that on this model we only have wired Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. It's not wireless. Hopefully that can be addressed with later models. You also have 3D settings, which is quite cool. You can see a 3D look around of the car and pick various settings. Something that is a little bit quirky, you have quiet mode, allowing you to play your radio only to the front seats in case the kids in the back want to have a sleep. And you have your various other options like your radio and your climate control options in case you wanted to control them through the screen instead. Into the digital display, everything that is shown is of a high quality, it's nice and clear. It's all very customizable. One of the really cool features about this is that you can have an augmented reality display. What that means is that you can have a direct camera feed into the display from the front of the car, and if you need any satellite navigation instructions, it will actually show it in real time on the camera display to show you which lane you want to be in. Really useful actually, and I think it would help people navigate a lot better than the normal way of doing the satellite navigation. There's lots of different options for changing the side option here. This could all be controlled through the steering wheel itself. In terms of what you have available on the steering wheel, you have a lot of options to be able to mess around with the various radio functions and the stuff you can see on the screen. You also have adaptive cruise control and lane keeping options. That will help on long drives. It's a nice bit of technology to have. You've got your drive mode selectors. Now the drive mode in this car works really well compared to a lot of cars I've driven, and I think a big chunk of that is because it will control the seat depending on the drive mode you pick. So if you pick sport mode, the seat will physically hold you in more and hunker down to really give you a feeling that you are in sport mode with the car. And then one of the defining features of this car is the boost button. So the car has almost 500 brake horsepower, but the electric motors can be turned up ever so slightly more for 10 seconds or so with the boost button. This is again a little bit of a gimmick, but it is a very fun feature that can be used to really be an entertaining part of the drive. Other key bits that the vehicle has: high-low beam assist, a heads-up display, automatic lights, automatic wipers, and paddles behind the steering wheel that will allow you to effectively change the regenerative braking. If you turn them up enough, you can effectively have one pedal driving, whereby you can just use the accelerator to balance if the vehicle's going slower or faster and bring the vehicle to a halt without actually having to use the brakes. On the door itself, you've got your mirror adjusters, you've got your memory seat functions, your different options for the various windows around the vehicle, and then finally moving up to the ceiling, you've got some light functions, and you have your panoramic roof covers which close to themselves, which also looks very cool. Driving the Genesis is a great experience. It's very similar to a lot of electric vehicles in that you have a very smooth and quiet drive. The power steering is often quite comfortable. Lots of torque available on demand because of the electric motors. Where the Genesis does differ from some models is where you change between the different modes, as we mentioned earlier. So driving along in eco mode, quite well refined, not a lot of torque response from the throttle, pulls itself along very well, very comfortable. You can change to comfort mode. It will sharpen up the throttle response slightly. Your dashboard will change. Overall, it's quite similar to the eco mode, but it feels like it pulls a little bit more. But sport mode is where the vehicle really does come alive. So if you engage sport mode, you'll notice on the dashboard, it does change to slightly red dials. The bolsters in the vehicle will grip you harder. It's instantly noticeable that the throttle response is much more reactive. When you put your foot down in sport mode, you'll notice the vehicle does pull very well. But if you do use the boost button in combination with sport mode, then you can really tell the speed difference in the vehicle. Really pushes you back in the seat. Very quick car, and feels very fun to drive. I'll put it back in eco mode for a second just so we can talk about the other features. One of the key parts is the heads-up display in the windscreen. Lots of cars are adopting the heads-up display now, but the one in the Genesis is very clear. And one of the benefits of this heads-up display is they've thought about what to display there in the windscreen. So you have your miles per hour and the current speed limit. You have blind spot warning, so without taking your eyes off the windscreen, you can see if somebody is in that blind spot. If you use your adaptive cruise control, that will also show up and it will show the car in front. so you can make sure that your vehicle has recognised the car in front. There's some other really nice little features. We didn't talk about it earlier, but there are cameras that are under the door mirrors that will come on when you indicate in a certain direction in the car. This does help you to really see and make sure that nobody is going to be in your way when you turn. It's a nice little use of a digital dashboard and the cameras that are already there on the car. Overall, really great experience when driving the Genesis, and the boost button is particularly fun.